Come one, come all. It's time to grow. Welcome to the Dorian Adams Motivation Show. Today, we decided to change it up a little bit. Just because I've been feeling like there's been a great amount of feedback that I'm getting off of the calls. And then I feel like it's a need for us to explore deeper. So what we decided to do was invite John to go ahead, spotlight, and showcase on the topic that we chose to talk about. But first of all, let's be reminded that on this channel, we explore the balance of faith, family, finance, friends, and fitness. Today's call, however, is going to touch on the question of what is it that you believe? And we're going to allow for the discussion to go whichever direction did it take, because we didn't do no prepping or no priming on exactly how that question needs to be answered. It's going to be basically answered based on what John got available for us. So without further ado, let's introduce Mr. John. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Appreciate you for having me on. This is an interesting topic, so I'm excited.
So let me ask you first, what was the first thing that came to your mind when I told you that was the topic we was going to talk about?
I was like, okay, if that's something he wants to dig into, the first thing that came to mind is that this could I could talk about this forever. That's why I kept asking, is there a specific direction? Because, with a topic as big as this one, I needed a little context. But no, man, I mean, I was just intrigued. You don't get too many people asking questions like this anymore. So
Now, before you go into like the discovery, we're gonna do some discovery. Before you go into that, do you feel like why do you feel like those type of questions don't get asked?
Well, in general, we live in a society today where people aren't very open to expressing themselves with regards to their true opinions, because people don't like being told that they're wrong, and people don't take too kindly to really opposing views in general. So I feel like people tend to keep to themselves, and when you find people that are open-minded and like engaging in discourse, discourse of this nature is intriguing, it's interesting. I mean, that's at least one of the reasons people don't ask those kinds of questions. I'm sure they ask them to themselves, but not so much to other people.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. But let's introduce us to the first thing that you first, I guess, bullet point that you want to go across.
So what I had in mind to start with, since we're dealing with the topic of belief, is the development of these belief systems, or how it is that most people adopt their structures of belief, whether it be religion or some sort of spiritual system, whatever it may be. So that's what I was going to start with first. Attempt to outline.
What you got?
So most people adopt their belief systems from their family. Many people come from Christian families. Your parents will take you to church from an early age, and you begin to adopt the beliefs and the belief system of your parents. When we talk about culture, the values of that culture are passed down through generations, generation after generation, and we don't often give too much critical thought on these things because of the way that they're deeply embedded into our into the way that we orient ourselves. So I've met many people that are Christians, and this is just dealing with Christians in particular,
Mhm.
that were raised in that way. And when you speak to them in a nuanced manner about different perspectives or different ways of looking at their religion, you sometimes get pushback. And then in other instances, you come across people that are a bit more open-minded. And what it tells me about people is, or about each individual, is to what degree they've delved into their belief system. So for those that don't believe in the traditional religion, they tend to take on a more internal approach or more visceral approach. So they live their lives based off of um, the ways that the people around them carry themselves and what works. Treat others how you want to be treated, and all of those axiomatic principles that we all just kind of follow, that don't really have any um, religious backing behind them. So something I was thinking was whether or not you're a person that believes in a religious doctrine or some sort of spiritual system, you sort of follow the same rules. Um, I think that I think that whether or not you follow one of those systems or not, the nature of reality still applies the same to everyone. So I don't know. It's just interesting. We there aren't too many people that grew up that weren't religious that came across it and came across religion and then completely disregarded it. So I guess that speaks to the effect of people as well. That's
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like that you chose that, man, because it automatically sparked some questions from me. And one of those, the first thing you highlighted was belief system, right? And how a lot of times that belief system is forged based on years of exposure, right? And in this case, you talked about religion. My question would be, when you break down what it is that you believe, when you ask yourself, when you acknowledge to yourself that I believe this, the next question I have is why?
Hmm.
You get what I'm
Well,
saying? Are we building our belief systems that we currently carry? Not, I ain't talking about, what might happen. I'm talking about I currently carry this belief system because, you get what I'm saying?
hmm
So that's where the why comes in at.
well, it's interesting. I think our belief systems, and mine in particular, it's been developed over time in direct proportion to me dealing with my problems, or the things that plague us the most, our ability to reflect on our lives and what it is that we want. That tends to be when people search for those belief systems with the most profound interest. So, you know, the why, as to why do you believe what you believe? It's like trying to figure out how I can put this. I think I spoke about this in another call. We exist as a group. We don't exactly exist alone. We exist in proportion to the people around us. Um, when you look at the principles and the core values whether it be religion or whatever it is that your system of belief is, it kind of evolves and tiptoes around other people and consequences and and rewards. So that kind of circles into what I just said about your system of belief develops alongside your ability to reflect on what it is that you've been through and what it is that you want.
Mhm.
So
So
yeah.
is that a belief system that's uh congruent, like perpetual, or is it subject to revision? Like, you get what I'm saying? How solid am I about this belief system?
Well, I mean that's a tricky one because if you're not fully invested into a specific religion and you're a person like me that's still searching, it's definitely open to a revision. And I think even for people that are completely immersed in one of the religious doctrines, it's always open to nuance and perspective because as you grow and change as a person, your beliefs grow and change as well. So I would say that's definitely the case.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now,
Yeah.
me and you, we've had different discussions, man, and I'm never left uh not full from what we talk about, the different stuff that we can get off into. And that's something I really appreciate about what you bring to the table. Um, what is it that you would say um, as far as when you have a belief system, just say for instance, based on relationships, uh, based on how you should carry yourself as a man, those are belief systems too, right? And so if I went back and circled back and applied the same question I just asked about, um, is that belief system perpetual or is it up for revision, and why? So you're talking about the way you carry yourself as a man, how you might adopt a new belief system. Like how do you get off into that?
Well, that's interesting. So I would say that assuming the belief system that you have in regards to how you should carry yourself as a man is a stable one and one worth having, certain aspects of it probably won't change as time moves on, but certain aspects will. So it's like they're changing, but they're changing moving upwards. They're moving forward. Or rather, there are things being added on to it. So they're being adjusted as you move forward rather than things being changed. And this also goes back to what I just said. As a developing person or a developing mind, your beliefs are somewhat in proportion to the people around you. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say, for example, you should you should treat your loved ones with respect because you love them, your sister, your mother, your father, or your brother, assuming you're in good standing.
Mm-hmm.
That would be one. Or if someone can't do for themselves, you should step in and do for them. Or even you should protect physically your loved ones. Those are all things that come at a risk to yourself, at the reward of knowing that you are doing for others. So that's something that I would say I currently believe now, but that may be altered or have things added on to them over time. I think that at any point, if you get to the point where you say a belief doesn't need to be edited, or as you grow in life, there are some things that you have locked in place. I think you do that to your own peril. You stunt your growth. And there are some things that will never change, but in general, when we're talking about the belief system, it should always be open for change. But not every specific belief, obviously. 1+1 will always be 2. But I don't know. Maybe how we come to that conclusion will change or something.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can dig it. I smell what you're stepping in, bro. You know. Um, I mean, I'll be of the same kind of understanding where you concluded at, is that essentially all belief systems are subject to revision, because I'm not the controller of the world and the information flow. I don't know what I'm gonna come in contact with that might challenge or replace my current belief system, right? And that's just being open-minded. But the thing is, I try to arrive at the conclusion of, I'm solidly founded in this belief system because I vetted it, right? But I do understand too, though, that as a man, just saying, for instance, how I carry myself or what have you, I feel like a lot of that is based on how something affects me spiritually. You know what I mean? And I had a conversation with a brother the other day about feeling like for real, is it worth it to be an upstanding dude, so-called upstanding guy, a productive member of society type stuff. Because all of that, what a productive member of society is, basically you're invoking a belief system right there, just to say, if you productive, you establish a height bar right there. You establish an expectation. You say upstanding citizen or whatever. So off top, it's like, well, how and why should I continue to move this way and meet this height bar? It ain't necessarily got to do with what everybody else is saying. It's how it make me feel. And naturally, I know conducting myself in a negative fashion, so in a way that's going to affect other people negatively, if it's going to evoke a negative response from most people, it don't make me feel good. So, you know what I mean, as a part of establishing a part of my belief system, you know what I mean, it could be that, nah, you know what, I can just use that to guide me in a certain direction without having to even go ask no questions. But
Yeah.
for you, I
No,
would
I
say,
understand.
you with me? How do you approach other people's belief system when it comes in conflict with yours?
Well, I mean, that's simple. What I've learned is, which unfortunately it happens more often than not, is that you have to listen to people. Assuming your intentions are to understand, when you engage in a dialogue with someone, you have to listen. Listen, as we've all heard, with intentions to understand, uh, and not listening just so that you can respond. So I've found that in every instance where someone was disagreeing with me, I withheld my emotions or withheld my remarks about how I don't agree with them and gave them the floor to speak. Oftentimes it turns out that we don't actually disagree as much as you initially would think that you do. So I find that, because at the end of the day, if you don't agree with someone and you guys see things differently, then there's probably no point in arguing over something that ultimately doesn't matter. I mean, an argument would be a lot more meaningful in a situation where two people are on the same page, but are trying to find a conclusion that can be integrated for something useful. So when it comes to the question of how do you deal with people that have different beliefs than yours, I would say try and understand them, because there's probably something to learn there.
Right. So let's hit a corner. Yeah. Do you believe that the earth has been here for 13 billion years?
You know what? I know I haven't been here for 13 billion years. I know it's been here before me. So no, that's interesting. I mean, it's like I can't see the back of my head, but I know it's there. I think we can definitely ask questions that we that have no end. So sometimes I feel like certain questions can be useless. I don't know. I don't know exactly where you were going with that one, but
hey, open-ended. You get what I'm saying? So when we arrive at belief systems, we arrive at a conclusion. Like you said, I feel like that's fair, for a fair place for you to be, because sometimes we can't necessarily say we got a belief system or basically have opinions on stuff if I never vetted that question for myself, but it's like, guess what? We living here on this earth. You got all these different sayings, this person saying this person saying that, and they looking to forge a belief system on you with the stuff that they saying. So guess what? Where the hell I get 13 billion years from? That's because I've been hearing people say it. Right? Do I believe it's been here 13 billion years? Bruh. Right? It ain't something I can speak to. Just like you said, I believe it's possible. But my thing is, first thing you telling me 13 billion years, I want to ask how you arrived at that conclusion. Because you got to sell it to me. Yeah,
I think that's a problem too. People can be convinced. Sometimes we can be convinced of things way too easily without requiring any actual data or facts to prove whatever it is. So I think it's important to, like you said, it's important to vet information or ideas before we embody them and put them in the fact department in our brain.
It's like, how close can I get to the truth about what's being spoken? You know what I'm saying? Right. How close to the truth can I get to whereas I can hold on and stand on this without questioning it, without wavering, no matter who I'm talking to, no matter what the situation. That's a belief system. And so, yeah, that's the type of stuff, I guess, when I ask myself what I believe, those are the type of directions I go with it, because I want to get confident and sure as possible about what I'm talking about or what I call myself standing on, because I get it. Yeah, information is subject to revision, but if I'm using the tools and the faculties that I have at my disposal to arrive at the conclusion that I arrive at, I feel a little bit more confident, a little bit more stable in my walk through life. You see what I'm saying? And I know you can throw this at me, you can throw that at me. Because I was so thorough with my assessment before I arrived at my conclusion, I already pretty much know what you can even throw at me. But if you throw something at me that I didn't see, or that I don't expect, or that I wasn't aware of, now we can have a dialogue, you know, or I can entertain whatever's being spoken about. Because guess what? If it's that much more of a solid proposition, I might just be jumping on board with it. It's that simple. You know,
Yeah.
like I say, it's time to grow. You know, if we keep our fist balled up, it ain't nothing we can put in there but what's already in there, man. You know, I got to be willing. I got to be willing to have the courage to open my hand up and allow what I got in there to come or go. If it's to invite new and probably better or probably more meaningful substance,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I think it's important to stay in a constant state of learning,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're constantly trying to improve what it is that you believe, you're not closed off to different ideas, and as a result, you open yourself up to a multitude of things, more relationships, um, different ways of thinking that you may not have ever been exposed to before. I mean, oftentimes, I think we spoke about this in another video. We believe the things that were passed down to us when we were young. So it is until we become adults and expose ourselves to different types of people and situations that we find that the world is a lot bigger than we initially thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have to stay in a constant state of learning. I mean, I personally enjoy when I'm speaking to someone and they say something in a manner that I've never heard before. It's interesting. It lets me know that there's brilliance out there. There's other interesting people,
Mm-hmm. Right. And
and
that's
that it.
the whole thing too for me. And you just said it, staying in a constant state of seeking knowledge, seeking revelation about this earth. That look, guess what? We just established that it's supposed to have been here 13 billion years. I can't know everything,
Mhm.
right? And even in that, um, it's the thought that if I'm not able to communicate, say for instance, like I'm learning Spanish right now. It's hope opening up a whole nother world for me, right? If I can communicate with Spanish speaking people, you never know what they say, think, or how they brains are wired. You know what I mean? You just don't know. Different people over in Asia, Russia, Africa, people got belief systems that they've been holding on to forever, right? For whatever reason. But the thing is, if I can't tap in and communicate with you, I can read about your people. I can read about people in this certain area, what have you. But until I learn to communicate with them, just like in America, we right now we speak in English and we understand a lot that came with it. A lot of our belief systems is built on Americanized thinking, right? So if I go and if I'm sitting with a tribe in the Congo somewhere, and I sit there long enough, I'm gonna absorb their beliefs. I'm gonna absorb why they move, how they move. Right? I might come up with something. I'll be like, hold on. Like, you know what I mean? You just don't know what you don't know. But if you don't stay in a constant state of seeking to become more aware or more familiar with what's going on, you don't know what you don't know. Don't make you a bad dude. But I would feel like, you know what I mean? I wasted time not continually seeking.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, you couple that with what you were just saying about attempting to solidify what it is that you believe and consolidate it into a solid belief system. I think I think in the process of doing that, it's also important to make sure that we're actively seeking new knowledge, because today, you know, a system of belief can be true and working, and then tomorrow, not so much. So,
Right.
and I think that can be applied to a lot of things.
True that. True that. And that, yeah, I believe that too, on the level that you got the stuff is constantly evolving. You know, it's constantly evolving. In today's world, in society, it's a pump and dump type situation going on with a whole lot of stuff. You talking about if you just delve into the arena of politics, something today that can be accurate that people have been living with and moving with for years can get challenged, overthrown, and now you got a whole new belief system because they done made it a law. It's like, really? You get what I'm saying? That's society forging your beliefs right there. Because you know, if I don't stay in between the lines, then I'm subject to be in trouble. But at the same time, this same belief system was totally legal or okay to do years ago. They want to tell you what you can, who you could believe you are. Let's look at that one. Nowadays, people can identify themselves as they, as we, and a host of other titles, I guess you call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, that's a belief system that's being challenged all over the place because society don't want to accept that. And then you got historically man, woman.
Yeah, yeah. That's an interesting one. I was just talking with one of my friends earlier about this. It seems like there's some sort of weakness or some sort of ideology that's permeating, taking over our culture right now, American culture in general, and it's sort of like a disease. And the disease is characterized by a lack of critical thinking and a lack of of integrity. I mean, when you look at what's happening, it's just a lot of laziness. I mean, the whole pronoun thing is insane to me because it's basically stating that you can create your own identity on your own by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep bringing up the point that we don't exist in isolation by ourselves. It's in proportion to everyone else. That doesn't mean that you don't get to choose who you are in the world. It just means you don't get to force other people to see you how you want to be seen. So, I mean, a belief system built upon forcing or, or 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 demanding that other people do anything a certain way for you is it's like tyrannical in its nature, and it's just that can become pathological very quick. So I don't know. Yeah, that's an interesting one in the politics.
So do you believe, do you feel like that person has the right to believe that though? They establishing a belief system.
Well, yeah. I mean, I believe people have that autonomy. It's a God-given right. You can believe whatever you want. I just believe that there are consequences for your actions and sometimes for your words. So, I mean, when it comes to belief, that's an internal process. You know, that's not something we can that I would be doing exactly what they're doing, trying to control someone else's um beliefs or actions or behavior or something like so. Yeah, no. I mean, people have the right to believe what they want. I think once your beliefs manifest themselves in reality, then you have to deal with the consequences of those beliefs. And that's in any regard, not just in that specific example. So
Right. No, I'm with you. So two quick questions. We'll explore these real quick. Uh on the surface, scratch the surface level, where do you feel like your belief system is going to take you?
Currently, my belief system is being altered every single day. I mean, I'm spending a lot of time trying to learn more intentionally so that I can alter what it is that I used to believe into something more suitable and oriented towards moving upwards in society or moving upwards within my own realm of existence. So, I mean, simply put, I think it'll take me exponentially farther than I was yesterday. And that's going to be the same answer every day.
All right.
Just to touch the surface. So,
Scratching the surface. I got you. So now, on a deeper level, where do you feel like your beliefs is going to take you?
personally, I can tell you where I'd like them to take me. I can't exactly tell you what they're going to. And I know that's not what you meant, but I figured I'd set that precedent. One of my goals with regards to belief, because for me, belief isn't just an abstraction, it's an embodiment. So if I come to the point and say that I believe something, it's going to be exemplified in my behavior. And those people that are around me will be able to see exactly what it is I believe in my behaviors. I don't think there's a big difference between belief and the way that you act for the things that you truly believe. So I'd like to see my beliefs and my systems that are used to orient my behavior take me to a place that allows for me to be the best person that I can possibly be for myself in regards to health and wellness overall, and the best person that I can possibly be for the people that are around. I think that in juxtaposition with the alternative being the worst person you can possibly be for yourself, or the
Right.
worst person for those around you, is probably the best thing you could possibly do. So I mean,
So, bro, I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna end it on that, bro.
mhm.
If I say what you just said blew me away, it wouldn't do it no justice. I'm gonna show you this right here. And it got the date and everything on there, bro. Let me see if I can get it in the camera. It don't want to pick up my camera.
uh, okay, it's not really. I
Yeah.
can see it a little.
Uh,
Nah, I can't read it though.
yeah, that camera is not picking it up for some reason. I guess it's the screen blanking out. But I'm gonna tell you what it says. This is November 1st, 2:31 a.m. I said, I am a collection of my past experiences, willing to be the best I can be for others in the moment.
Hmm.
So just to
Yeah.
just to absorb, you know what I mean, the consistency of that in the statement that you just made is that just threw me for it threw me a little bit when you said that. Like,
There's a little
exactly.
synergy. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, because that's it. I feel like, man, you got to personify that, man, and people will address you and approach you as, you know, I'm just walking up on another human. I'm just another person. You don't even look at the human aspect. It's just more or less, I'm presenting me, just, this is me, period. And it's like, however, you got to respond to that, as opposed to, you know what I mean, greeting people with courteousness and just allowing for whatever that interaction is going to end up being, instead of you having to aggressively happen to a situation, or, you know what I mean? You abrasively entering into whatever situation it is, instead of just being open, fluid, you know. And it just, people don't, they don't allow for themselves to have that type of capacity for the people around them. Well, I'm just saying, in today's society, I see that more often than not.
I agree. I agree. I mean,
Yes,
it's difficult.
that just made me think about that saying that I had typed down on my notes. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll add this on top of that to put the cherries on the cake. Something that I've been working on intentionally, not without its difficulty, is trying to make sure that everything I say, I actually believe when I'm talking to someone. If you think about it, a lot of the things we say aren't necessarily not true, but they can be not your original beliefs. And there's nothing wrong with saying things that you sort of believe that you heard. But I think it's important to, like you just said, let your true expressions flow when you're engaging with someone, because what it does is it opens the floor for them to do the same. And I think that's a little piece of magic right there, if you can actually figure it out. And the more you practice it, the more you realize that's exactly what other people want as well, is that level of honesty and genuine expression when you're speaking with another person. We all have our masks, but at a certain point, they're just not useful, which is more often than not. So I just put that on top of it.
Fire, fire. I'm telling you, that's it, man. You know, that's it. You hit a corner with that one, and brought it right back, right, all in the focus, you know, because that's what we're here for, man. That's what, you know, I mean, I would say, um, yeah, allow yourself to personify something, uh, not necessarily unheard of, but just to say, if I establish myself in line, align myself with the mediocre and the law of averages, you're not getting nothing out of me, then you can't get from nowhere else. But if I understand that I'm purposely created differently for a reason, you know what I mean? It may just be that I can personify something bigger, something unseen before, in whatever capacity that may be, instead of, you know, because a lot of times like that, the belief system is going to come based on money. Like I say, establishing that level to say that money is the level that you need to reach, and that's all you're looking for. But how about the fact that, once again, like we talked about on the other call, money versus impact, right? How about I can establish a personal presence that creates an impact in somebody's life that's priceless, right? That may be what I bring to the table. It may not have nothing to do with the monetary gains that they could get. You know what I mean? So it's like, I gotta be aware that I may just actually bring something different to the table than what society is establishing as a bar. How much money I made, I gotta make as much money as the next guy made to make me look like I'm bringing something to the table. That's a distraction.
Yeah, pretentiousness has never resulted in anything meaningful in the long term. I think a lot of these things have their place and their value, but when you isolate them, there's not too much meaning there, like money. So yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So, you know, what do I believe? I like the direction of it, you know, because I feel like, once again, like you said, it can go on and on and on. But I feel like the bigger hit to it is going to be how I point that finger at myself and ask that question. You know, because if I'm in a constant state of discovery, my answer for myself might change. It might continue to change, like we said. And I just got to be bold enough and courageous enough to continue asking myself those questions, and not allow myself to get complacent in my understanding of what I currently believe. You know what I mean? Because then when you stop asking those questions, you kind of stop your evolution. You kind of short circuit that evolution. Or at least it doesn't accelerate as fast as if you ask some questions. You sit there just waiting for something to happen, for evolution to happen to you, then, you know what I mean? You kind of a victim of evolution then, instead of happening to it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah. You got anything left on the way out?
No, man. I mean, I'm gonna leave it with, if what you believe or what you purport to believe can't sustain you over the period of time or throughout your life, it probably needs to be redacted, edited, or added on to. And when it comes to beliefs, the idea is not to be able to tell people or speak at people. It's not to be able to, what's the word I'm looking for? To prop yourself up as someone who knows it all. The idea is that you're trying to learn, and you want to be someone that other people can learn from. So, like water, you should be in a constant state of, I would say, motion, but change. That's the idea. Yeah, I'm gonna just leave it there.
Man, right on, bro. Right on, right on, right on. So we gonna wrap it with that. And I just want to ask y'all, did y'all just hear that? Man, we ain't playing up in here, man. We trying to get to it, right?
Right?
So, hey, we will wrap it with that, man. Y'all heard it first here, man. During Adams Motivation, my man John brought that fire. Look forward to hearing more from this brother. What's your podcast? Go and shout your podcast out.
I don't have it right now, but I do have my Instagram. It's at Spend Time, SPENDTIME, at Spend Time. I have my podcast up soon enough. I'm still working on the kinks, working out all the edges. So
Okay. Well, no. So y'all check my man out on Instagram at Spend Time, and be looking forward to his podcast. We'll keep you updated in the future. Other than that, we wrapping this thing up. We out.